So, I'm sitting in the Walmart parking lot right now. I came here because I wanted to get a birthday card for my grandmother that has dementia. Her birthday's today. My other grandmother, who's no longer alive, her birthday's tomorrow. I don't really have contact with that grandmother. I'm just gonna run the card over to her house and put it in her mailbox. I haven't really had contact with that side of my family in a couple of years, other than trying to go to Christmas Eve dinner last year. Well, I did go, and it just kind of reminded me why I distanced myself from the family. I just don't really want to be around that kind of energy for the sake of my mental health when I'm already going through so much. But that's not really why I'm recording right now. I've had a lot of stuff on my mind today, and I've just been distracting myself and anxious, and I finally hit a point where I feel like I can record. And maybe it's because I'm away from home right now, because let's face it, home doesn't really feel like home. The part about it that brings me comfort is the fact that it is a safe place for me to sleep at night, and my dogs are there. I love my dogs very much. They're my saving grace in life right now. But I woke up this morning feeling extremely useless and like I don't have any value. Part of this is because of the way our society is designed. Ever since my mom's murder, I have struggled more so than I've always kind of struggled with holding down jobs, but ever since my mom's murder, it has gotten even worse. I've spent a good deal of like the last 2.5 years unemployed, unable to function. It also hasn't helped that I haven't had a car. I'm in my sister's car right now. For the last year, I've been borrowing her car to get around whenever she can let me borrow her car. And it's made things pretty challenging having to rely on other people for every single aspect of my life. In fact, I would be homeless right now if I didn't have someone that loves me enough to help me out and make sure I don't become just another statistic, a mentally ill person living on the streets. That was interesting. That guy just got out on this side, walked around my car to go out up that way when it would have been quicker to go the other way. Anyway, yeah, I would be homeless right now if I did not have help. And I'm very grateful that I have someone in my life that cares about me like that. But then I also feel like a burden because I have to have help to survive. I get really frustrated that my value to society is based on my productivity. I have not done anything today except for wash some dishes and take care of my dogs. In fact, I spent most of the day in bed. And it's just kind of sad that I have to feel so bad about myself for grieving and having hard mental days because of the way society tells me I have to work in order to have value as a human being. Like, I'm 30 years old, and I'm also physically disabled because of an assault, on top of the mental issues I have, which also qualified me for disability. And just hearing the awful opinions and things that people have to say about people that receive any kind of government assistance, it just stings. You know, disability is not enough to live off of. And, you know, when you're disabled, you're expected to live in poverty because you have an income limit. If you even can work, you have an income limit in order to receive benefits. And then what if you can't work? You're just doomed to live in poverty as it is. You know, why is a person's value determined by how much they can work? Why? As human beings, we have worth just by existing. But our society tells us otherwise because corporations don't make money off of believing that humans have worth just by existing. And then I get extremely frustrated about my family because, you know, I shouldn't even be under this kind of stress that I am with the grief and worrying about finances. My grandfather's trust fund should have taken care of both of my sister and I. My mom's portion should have taken care of both of us. Instead, my aunt and my uncle stole absolutely everything. They already lived comfortable lives financially, but that wasn't good enough for them. They had to take from us. When my sister is the sole breadwinner of a family of 4, with my brother-in-law going through a genetic disease that is destroying his liver, he's slowly dying. And then I'm disabled and live in poverty. I've struggled with my mental health my whole life because of my upbringing and all of the trauma that I have been through, and it has made it extremely difficult to function. You know, I was failed by every single adult in my life and set up for failure from the very beginning. And I'm just not made for society. And, you know, some days I really feel like my life is a mistake and that I shouldn't be here. And today's just kind of been one of those days. My mom's murder ruined my life. I keep trying to pick up the pieces, but every single time I feel like I'm rising above it, there's always someone there to fuck things up. I get taken advantage of because I'm naive and I tend to only see the good in people a lot, and I'm overly trusting, which is wild considering how much I've been through and the types of betrayals that I've been through. And then there's my aunt and my uncle. 2 miserable people that wanted to spread their misery to my sister and I, while we're grieving our murdered mother, their sister, and they stole from her in death to spite her children. I don't know, guys. I'm just really frustrated. I feel worthless. I feel like no one cares. But, I mean, I know that's not true. I'm getting help financially. I'm grateful for that. But it just feels like, what is the point of my existence? What is the point of all of the suffering that I have been through? I was telling myself that everything happens for a reason, but things like that happen because people would rather spread their pain to others instead of work on themselves and actually serve humanity. On the days that I don't feel like existing anymore, I decide to live out of spite because I don't want to give my uncle the satisfaction of me dying, because I know that would solve a lot of problems for him, because he says that I'm causing him problems by talking about his abuse, how he mistreats women and his tenants, and how he stole from my mom. I've lost myself again, and I'm struggling to find myself. It's hard to hold on to hope and believe that things can be better one day. Well, I'm gonna go drop off this card at my grandmother's. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Take care.